Good evening and welcome to the Livermore City Council meeting of November 27th. I call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Barrientos. Councilmember Branning.
Here.
Councilmember Carling.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kick. Here. Mayor Marchand.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, for the city attorney, was there any reportable action taken in the closed session?
Mr. Mayor, this is your city attorney, Jason Alcala. No, the city council did not take any reportable action in closed session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to reorder the agenda. We're going to conduct the city's business first, and then we'll have the open forum afterwards. So I'm going to now move on to the proclamations and presentations for the Beautification Committee. Mark Goralka.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I am Mark Goralka, Vice Chair of the Beautification Committee. Thank you for having the committee present an annual report reporting our activities in 2023. I would like to acknowledge the rest of the Beautification Committee members, all of which are here behind me. Karen Jefferson, Sandra Lormond, and Tanya Panarella. We would also like to thank City Staff Liaison Joe Prime, Maintenance and Golf Operations Manager, and Staff Support Lori Tobias, Administrative Clerk. It is a pleasure to be of service to the City Council and the Livermore community through our monthly meetings, and we welcome any requests for advice, assessment, or assistance on matters relating to the beautification of the city. The major accomplishments of the committee this year include: we mailed letters to 29 residents citywide in appreciation of their holiday displays in December 2022. We revised the Beautification Award application brochure to expand the reach and opportunities of the award. We selected 6 Beautification Committee awards in recognition of properties that have significantly improved the visual appearance and are aesthetically beneficial to the surrounding areas. The award recipients included 5 residential properties and a first ever award to a commercial property. These awards will be presented after our annual report. We presided over Arbor Day 2023, providing 14 of the 15 elementary schools in Livermore with prepared bags containing seed packets and other tree-related materials to distribute to approximately 1,000 second graders, and also created a daily social media challenge during Arbor Day week to learn about Livermore trees. Within the last 12 months, the landscape section of Public Works has worked as a team with Karen Jefferson of the Beautification Committee and the Livermore Amador Valley Garden Club to make improvements to the Rose Garden at Hanson Park. These improvements included an identification sign, which has not been there since it was completed in 1963. We presided over a denied tree removal permit appeal. The committee upheld staff's decision to deny the permit. We reviewed and adjusted subcommittees based on current vacancies and new member interests. So thank you again for supporting the Beautification Committee.
Any questions, comments? Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Certainly appreciate that.
Thank you.
So with that, we have the presentation of the 2023 Beautification Awards. We have Mark Goralka again.
Yes. It's with pleasure I like to award the Beautification 2023 awards. I'll call them out. I'll call the residents, each property out one at a time. These awards are intended to improve curbside appeal throughout the city, recognize drought-tolerant landscape renovations, promote creativity and community pride, and encourage citizen participation in beautifying Livermore. This year, there were 12 properties across the city, of which 6 were selected as exemplary. The first one is 182 Barber Street, Lisa Kirk household. And see, I guess as I call your name, you can come up and get a sign. And no. No. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let me see it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Where the Oh, here. Oh, okay. Thank
And if you
you.
could show the sign to the audience at home, if you could also show the sign to the camera. There we go.
Okay.
There he
Yeah.
is. Thank you.
I meant to say on this, the committee appreciated the creative use and colors and variations of plant species at the property. Next is 438 Swan Drive, Daniel Mastrantonio household. The committee noted the yard established buffers along the surrounding properties to provide appealing and inviting recreational areas. The next property is 961 Dolores Street. This is the Jennifer Lawrence household. Unfortunately, they are not here tonight. The committee liked how the organization and layout of design elements combined for a maximum visual impact. The next property is 2021 Las Positas Court. This is a commercial property. The committee appreciated the replacement of lawn areas for a low maintenance and water efficient, but yet attractive and welcoming landscape. Not sure if they're here tonight. Okay. The next property is 2349 High Castle Court. The committee recognized the extensive use of native grasses and shrubs over a large area for maximum visual impact. Okay. And the last property is 824 Alden Lane, Gordon Franco household. The committee appreciated how this property improved the entire frontage with new landscaping, fence, paint, and concrete flat work. They maintained the original tree count. They removed the lawn, and they also allowed for stormwater infiltration instead of direct runoff. Okay. And that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that, we're going to go to 3.3, which is the Livermore Valley Wine Heritage District Annual Update. It was presented by Brandy Lombardi, the Executive Director of the Livermore Valley Wine Growers Association.
Good evening. I'm Brandy Lombardi, and I first want to say thank you to our board president, Gina Cardera, who is present, and our board secretary, Darcy Kent, who is also present, as well as our partnership with Brandon Cardwell, his office, Teresa De La Vega, and all of our partners at the City of Livermore. It is so exciting to talk about this. I'm going to squeeze it into 3 to 5 minutes, but it's going to be hard because I want to take your whole night to talk about how amazing it is. But I'll have Brandon. We have just a tiny little outline up there so that I can just verbally share with you all of the accomplishments and excitement that we've had over the last year and a half with the Wine Heritage District. So we'll start with our first order of business when we were approved by the City Council to start the Wine Heritage District was to set up 5 anchor committees that would govern this entire process so that we knew that nothing fell through the cracks and that we were accountable in all areas of our business. So those 5 anchor communities are listed on the slide, which are administration and operations, professional development and education, quality enhancement, advocacy and community relations, and marketing and brand awareness. With that said, each of these committees are chaired by a board member and a non-board member so that we have members of our community also on the committee and they are open to the public, any of our meetings, along with our Brown Act compliance to have our agendas and minutes and everything available to the public, which are posted outside of our office all the time. So I'm excited to give you a few highlights from each of these committees as we talk about what's happened in the last year and a half. So on the administration and operations side, we created these 5 anchor communities. We have restructured our bylaws to be Brown Act compliant, and we have created a budget review committee. So all of the budgets for each committee is reviewed by a separate committee that goes through the budget process, complies with any requirements from the city of Livermore, as well as our board of directors who approve all of our financial operations. On our professional development side, this has been a really exciting section of the Wine Heritage District for us because this is a way that we can give back to the payees. So all of the wineries that pay into the Wine Heritage Assessment, we want to provide them education, professional development, so they can have their best business models as well. So we have done a CPR and first aid training. I have a slight tangent here to say that one of our wineries, actually, when we did this CPR training a few years back, actually used the CPR training and saved a coworker's life. So we really feel it's so important to keep doing this. So we do it once a year for all of our wineries to have that training and they can bring their staff. So that's something that we did with these funds. We also did a Riedel Glass seminar, which is kind of combined with our quality committee to make sure that, you know, the glass matters. We're in wine country and wine tastes different out of a Dixie cup than it does out of a beautiful Riedel glass. And we all know that to be true. We also conducted a secret shopping program with Wise Training. They are a giant company that does trainings and provides amazing insight into how we can improve our business. So we sent out secret shoppers to secret shop each of the wineries in the assessment district. They shopped them twice. We received the results. I then confidentially gave the results to the wineries and we started making improvements on the different ways that we could. Along with that, we do our collaborative community events, dinners, our member dinners, our holiday dinner, our inner winery tasting so that we can, a lot of the tasting room managers are working during the time the other tasting rooms are open. So once a year, we do an evening event after all the tasting rooms are closed. So you can try other people's wine. So when someone comes into your winery and says, who has a great rosé? They'll know because they went to the inner winery tasting and were able to taste their colleague's wine and be able to recommend a spot to someone. So those are some exciting things for that. On our quality enhancement and education, we were able to secure a new contract with a local lab in Fremont, Amtech Labs. After meeting with them, we were able to help them make the decision to head into, they've been a 20-year-old legacy food testing lab. They are now a full-fledged wine testing lab. They've bought the equipment. They're in the process of getting certified, and it's so close for our wineries. So they have a courier service that they pick up the samples Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they bring them to Fremont. We have the results within 24 hours, and our wine quality has increased immeasurably by having such quick access to lab services. We also were able to complete a Mapping the Vineyards project, which has been talked about and in the works for over a decade. And we were able to hire Mike Babbitt and Associates. They mapped the vineyards. So now we have a map that is just getting ready to get printed and was finalized last week to be able to have in the tasting room when you're trying our wine, when consumers visit, that say, hey, this is the vineyard that you're drinking from. And it is the person's name that owns that vineyard. And it's a really exciting thing that just gives such authenticity to our wine region. Advocacy and community relations is dear to my heart. And I serve on that committee with Carl Winty and Derek Eddy. And as you know, Carl is advocacy in his heart. It's just part of his DNA. And we have started a scholarship program with the Wine Heritage District Fund. So we have 4 scholarships that we give out to high school or current college students who are looking to have a career in the wine industry, from hospitality all the way to working in the vines. And so we're excited as that has just launched. We also started and initiated the Agritourism Leadership Group, which is a partnership that Carl and I lead with the City of Livermore, Alameda County, Livermore Valley Chamber, Downtown Livermore, Visit Tri-Valley, Tri-Valley Conservancy, and Innovation Tri-Valley. And all of the executive directors from those entities meet together once a month and discuss how to bring people into Livermore Valley, how to collaborate together so that we are working with each other and not against each other. And it has been phenomenal to have that kind of congruent goal and shared vision to bring people here. We have also partnered with Alameda County on working on a sister wine region relationship with Australia. So we hired a consultant in Napa who did a deep dive into who has the same type of terroir and climate and gave us a short list of regions that would make sense for us to partner with. So we are in the middle of doing that. We're excited about that. And our commitment under our advocacy committee is to always remain engaged on city, county, and state levels. And that is our #1 priority, as many of you know from the faces that you know from our community. As you can see from our management district plan, our largest portion of our budget goes to marketing and brand awareness. We are excited about this. We're ready to move the needle. We do not want to be the best kept secret anywhere. We are a hidden gem that is being discovered, and this Wine Heritage District is allowing that to happen. I will quickly go through some of the highlights of our marketing that we have done. We have created a new brand logo and marketing strategy, which has now been advertised across all media channels with print and digital. We have hired 143 Communications to handle all of our press and media relationships. We have successfully executed our events that we choose to do, such as Taste, that many of you joined us with this last month in October. We are continually committed to trade and industry engagement and relationships with our partners. We've been doing events at Bishop Ranch in San Ramon, at Santana Row with our geo-targeted marketing outreach there, with Safeway at large in the Bay Area, with Santa Barbara County, Los Gatos, and Best of the Bay. So we are making sure that we are a good neighbor to all of our other Bay Area counties. We have created and distributed a brand new wine country brochure. We have installed Wayfinder signs in partnership with Alameda County, as many of you I'm sure have seen and are right up on the screen. We have also created individual profiles for our assessed wineries, and which gives the message of our main brand message, which is your personal invitation to enjoy Livermore Valley Wine Country. All of this is possible due to the funds from our Wine Heritage District, and we could not do it without our partnership with the city. We have also been able to hire a full-time marketing coordinator and we've been able to hire Astra as our marketing digital partner. So these are things we've never been able to do in the past, and we're actually have boots on the ground making a difference. So I will leave with the final parting excitement, which is when I spoke to our PR team, they shared that after 13 press trips where we were able to bring media from around the country out to Livermore Valley to experience our wine country, they have written over 314 articles in the last year and a half about Livermore Valley, and we have had 2.8 billion impressions from what has been written. It is so exciting, and we can't thank the city enough for your partnership, for your continued support as we move through the Wine Heritage District. And as my last slide says, there's a quote that says, "It is clear the entire region is a collaborative path to excellence." And we could not do that without our partnership with all of you. And we're so thankful for your approval of the Wine Heritage District.
Well, thank you very much. Quick point. So I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago, I got a phone call from a city council member. Actually, he referred to himself as a counselor. And he was from Swan, Australia, which is also a grape growing region in Australia. And they were down to about their last 1,200 acres in cultivation. And this counselor looked the worldwide to see what region had gotten down to that critical mass and then reversed the process and actually began planting new vineyards. And he came to Livermore. And that was where his search took him. And we talked about the South Livermore Valley Area Plan and the tremendous success that we've had there. So this is the world where the world looks for solutions. So congratulations and continue the great work that you're doing. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Carling.
Randy, I just want to offer my thanks to you for your leadership and your enthusiasm. It's greatly appreciated in moving us forward in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Kick.
So I remember this conversation and this vote, and it was not unanimous. It was a little bit contentious and questions of like, what's the point of this? What is it even going to do? I hope everybody watches that 3 to 5 minutes that you spent, because the amount that has been you've been able to achieve in that short period of time is very noticeable. So congratulations. And I'm so glad we were able to make this happen in partnership together. So congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Because we're just okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Keep up the
you.
great work. Okay, as I said, we reordered the agenda, so we're going to move on to item number 5, the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to pull any items on consent or for consideration or discussion? Okay, just one thing I'm going to not pull it, but page 125 of the packet, there is an illustration by Christine McCall. This was for the Spring Art Show. And what was really cool about this is this was one of the first images that came out of LAA that is AI generated. This was put into the computer, and what she asked for was kind of a gnarly oak tree with cotton candy accents. And you look at it, yeah, it's cotton candy tree. But this was the first image that came out of Livermore Art Association that's AI generated. So I just kind of what's the new stuff that's coming? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to move the consent calendar. Oh, yes, thank you very much. Public comment.
No comments been received.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for keeping me honest. Appreciate that. I get so excited and moving things ahead. Okay, there being no discussion, I'm going to close the public comment period. Do we have a motion to move the consent?
I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Kick, seconded by Councilmember Branning. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It passed unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to 6.1. This is a public hearing to consider amending the Livermore Municipal Code on short-term rentals.
Honorable Mayor Marchand and members of the City Council, this is your City Manager, Mariana Marisheva, and item 6.1 is going to be presented by Steve Riley, Principal Planner in the Community Development Department. Mr. Riley?
Thank you, Mariana. Good evening, Mayor Marchand and members of the City Council. The item before you is a municipal code amendment to amend our regulations regarding short-term rentals. The Livermore Municipal Code currently precludes the use of accessory dwelling units as a short-term rental regardless of when the unit was built. As a reminder, short-term rentals are defined in the municipal code as the use of the entire house or a portion thereof for lodging or sleeping purposes for 30 consecutive days or less. Usually short-term rentals are advertised on websites such as Airbnb and VRBO. Short-term rentals require a permit in Livermore to ensure the compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood. As a second reminder, accessory dwelling units are smaller independent living units located on the lot with a primary house. ADUs, sometimes known as granny flats or in-law units, can be attached or detached from the main house and include a separate entrance, bathroom, kitchen, and sleeping facilities. State law expressly prohibits the establishment of short-term rentals in ADUs that are permitted on or after January 1, 2020. However, state law does give the city discretion to allow ADUs to be used as short-term rentals if the ADUs were approved prior to January 1, 2020. Therefore, staff recommends allowing short-term rentals in these older accessory dwelling units based on concerns from a few property owners that they invested in, developed, and used these ADUs as short-term rentals for a number of years and rely on the income they provide. Short-term rentals also provide families flexibility to meet housing needs for family members for a portion of the year while still deriving income from short-term rentals at other times during the year. There are 3 residents at this time who are requesting to use their ADUs as short-term rentals when those ADUs were built permitted prior to 2020. This amendment would allow them to do that. So the formal staff recommendation is staff's recommending the City Council adopt a resolution finding the impact of the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act and introduce an ordinance and waive the first reading, amending the short-term rental section of the Livermore Municipal Code, allowing accessory dwelling units with building permits issued prior to January 1, 2020 to be used as short-term rentals. Staff is available for any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff? Councilmember Branning?
So just had a quick question. How many units would be eligible to be a short-term rental under this ordinance?
The number of ADUs permitted prior to 2020 is 223 from the year 2003 to the year 2020.
Thank you.
Again, based on our experience so far with the short-term rental program, there's only been a couple that have wanted to do it, but yes, more are eligible.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to open the public hearing. Do I have any public comments?
No public comments been received.
No public comment? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing then. Bring it back to the council for discussion. Councilmember Carling.
I want to congratulate staff for coming up with a terrific solution that I think will work for everybody. I know there are 223 permitted, but right now there's only a half a dozen or less that actually are going to even ask for a STR permit. Is that right?
Yeah, based on our experience so far, there's only a few that want to do this.
Perfect. And I think this is just a terrific solution. So I very much support the plan moving forward.
Councilmember Branning.
Yeah. So I'm in support of this. I do have some concerns about us grandfathering in, 223 units. And then those will likely permanently be grandfathered into this, even if 10, 20 years from now, they decide to go into the short-term rental business. I'm not particularly comfortable with that. I don't love a lot of the negative impacts that short-term rentals have had. I will say 223 units is not the end of the world if even all of them decided to go for it. So I've been a little bit on the fence with this one. I am ultimately in favor of it because I do believe for the people who have invested in the property and we're expecting a return on this, having the game change, midstream, it really hurts them a lot. And some of the people we've heard from, it is a major blow after a very large capital investment. So ultimately I'm in favor of this, but I am concerned about that permanently instilling 220 potential short-term rentals in the future.
Vice Mayor Kick?
Can we have an ordinance about short-term rentals that protects our ability to take away that permit for lack of a better term, bad behavior? Is that correct?
Yeah, in our current short-term rental ordinance, there are provisions that they have to get a permit, number one, and they also have to renew it every year. And during the renewal process, we will work with our neighborhood preservation staff to see if there's a record or a pattern of complaints or bad behavior. And that we do have the right to revoke their license and not renew it. So we do have some tools right now to take care of those few folks that may not be following the rules.
We have tools at our discretion to maintain neighborhood quality and character and neighborhood preservation overall. In addition, to have a short-term rental, they need to pay into hotel occupancy tax. Is that correct?
Yes, they do have to pay an 8% TOT tax as well.
So although there's currently only 3 looking at doing this, 8% of that does come back as an asset to our community. Because we have already put a strong ordinance and protections in place, I'm not actually worried about the potential problems. I think we have planned ahead for those negative consequences. So I think this makes perfect sense. And I hope that we can get these individuals who did make that big capital investment, go ahead and get them their money back because they've been waiting a while to be able to get that return on their literal investment.
Councilmember Barrientos?
Yeah, I'll throw my 2 bits in. I appreciate the work you've done and I like the solution and I hope people out there appreciate it. I know some people do invest in ADUs to help. I was thinking about doing it in my mom's house, but that's gone. Anyway, I hope that, these people behave. So I have really no concerns, but I approve the whole idea.
Well, thank you. And I feel the same way. This wasn't necessarily a slam dunk decision. I will support this. But we've heard a lot that the state is looking for ADUs to be one of the solutions for the housing shortage crisis. And of course, if it's being used as an ADU or as a short-term rental, it can't be used as an ADU. So I also take exception to changing the rules midstream. So I will support this because people have made a significant investment and they deserve the ability to recoup that. So with that, is there a motion?
Just to be clear that any ADU permitted after 2020 is not subject to this, correct?
That's correct.
That is
Okay.
correct.
I just wanted that to be clear to everybody, that it only applies to those that were permitted prior to 2020. So
Begs the next question. So how many do we have altogether? How many ADUs?
So we have, again, 223 that were permitted prior to 2020, January 1, 2020. And since then, we've had 213 permitted.
In addition?
In addition,
Okay.
yeah, since January 2020.
Okay. All right, very good. So that I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Okay, Councilmember Barrientos was first one I heard.
I'll second.
Second, Vice Mayor Kick. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
I
Any opposed? It passed unanimously. Very good. Thank you. Moving on to 7.1, matters for consideration, accepting the Altamont Landfill Committee's recommendation for the acquisition of an easement for a conservation easement.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is once again your city manager, Mariana Marasheva. Item 7.1 is going to be presented by Jennifer Ackerman with the Community Development Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Good evening, Mayor Marchand and members of the council. The item before you is policy 23003. The Altamont Landfill Open Space Committee is recommending a grant in the amount of just over $145,000 for the California Rangeland Trust to purchase a 120-acre conservation easement over a portion of the DC Ranch in eastern Alameda County. For context, here is a map of Alameda County on the left. Livermore is inside the oval, and the project site is highlighted in red on the right side of the county map. On the right side of the slide, you can see the 120-acre conservation easement outlined in green. The 160-acre property is located 10 miles west of Tracy and 11 miles east of Livermore. The property is primarily used for grazing and includes populations of rare, large-flowered fiddleneck and habitat for California tiger salamander. It meets the Altamont Landfill Settlement Agreement criteria for open space acquisitions that include significant biological diversity, visual characteristics, and non-motorized recreation. It's also consistent with the committee's additional criteria that include strategic value for land protection, funding partners, and a willing seller. On September 15th, 2023, the committee voted to fund the grant request by the California Rangeland Trust for the acquisition of the conservation easement. This funding will contribute toward the total cost of the conservation easement. The voting members were the City of Livermore, with the city representative being Councilmember Carling, the Sierra Club, and Alameda County. The City Council's role is to concur with the committee's recommendation that the funding is consistent with the settlement agreement and the committee's priorities. The conservation easement would be held and administered by the California Rangeland Trust, and the city will have no further role in the project after this evening's vote. Staff recommends the City Council adopt a resolution finding the project is exempt under CEQA and accept the Altamont Landfill Open Space Committee's recommendation to contribute toward the California Rangeland Trust grant request. Staff is here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Do we have any public comments?
No comments been received.
Oh, okay, very good. In that case, I'm going to bring it back to the council, closing the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the council? Job well done, Councilmember Carling, for making a great recommendation for the Amsinkia grandiflora to
Exactly.
go with our Deanandra bacchigalupii, Livermore tar plant. So this the large fiddleneck is really a very cool looking plant. It looks like the back of a fiddle neck. It sort of curves around with the flowers on top of it. And it exists in very few places in the world. This is one of them. And I got really excited and then I read about it, and it exists next to Site 300, where the laboratories do heavy or high explosive testing. It's I think it's a really interesting habitat for it, but I think this is a great opportunity to preserve the land and protect our endangered species. So I think it's terrific. So thank you for your efforts on this and your recommendation. Any other comments? It really is. It's very cool looking. With
I'll
that-
move staff recommendation.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion made by Councilmember Carling, seconded by Vice Mayor Kick. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to council reports and matters initiated by the city manager or staff or council.
I have no major
You need to do
reports.
We'll do that afterward. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Nothing to add to my report out.
Yeah.
I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving break.
Okay, Councilmember Carly?
No, I don't have anything to say. I was hoping Mr. Scott would be here today, but I don't see him, but I was gonna thank him for the recommendation of the book that he suggested, Rough Sleepers. It's a well-written book about Boston and the homeless situation in Boston, some of the things they've been doing there over the many decades. And so I think it's, if people have an opportunity and are interested, Rough Sleepers by Tracy Kidder. And there's also quite a few YouTube videos with Tracy Kidder, the author, as well as Dr. Jim O'Connell, who's the physician that he follows for a number of years. And the book is essentially written about Jim O'Connell and his work with the homeless in Boston. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor. Did you want to do open forum?
I'll do that after the
Okay.
committee reports. Councilmember Briantos.
Anyway, EBC is also now called AVA.
And AVA stands for?
Alameda and the VA stands for Valley.
Alameda Valley?
Yeah, well, the whole concern was we're expanding into over the hill into the east. And they had a hard time people accepting that they said, we're not Alameda, or East Bay, we're the valley over there. So they did a large extensive study on what would come up with, and they came up with a VAVA. And they hope that will please the people who are going to join us from Stockton and Lathrop.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Very good. Vice Mayor Kick.
Nothing to report. But there's been a lot of illness going around. So fingers crossed that you and your kids make it through the next couple months because it's feeling way too much like 2020 in my family. So stay safe, everybody. That's all.
Okay. Keep that at bay. Okay, so everybody saw my report out. It's been a busy month. But what I wanted to highlight is that this coming Friday, December 1st, 6:30 is Deacon Dave's Casa del Pomba, House of the Dove, the Christmas extravaganza. Last count last year was over 780,000 lights. So that's going to be at 6:30 on Friday. And at 6 o'clock on Saturday, December 2nd, is the Holiday Lights and Sounds Parade. And that's going to be in the downtown, and that starts at 6 o'clock. So hope to see everybody there. So with that, I'm going to go back to item 4.0 and this open for the open forum. Do we have any speakers for the open forum?
Yes, Mayor, we do. The first speaker is Nancy Kremer, followed by David McWiggin, followed by Sandra Lorman.
Hello,
Good evening.
I'm Nancy Kramer. I live in Livermore on Diamond Drive. I love the bike paths that Livermore has. They're wonderful bike paths and walking paths. My husband and I and our dog walk on them every day. There's one right by our house that goes along Route 84. 84 goes north-south. Cars on 84 tend to go 50 or 60 miles an hour. And cars on Concannon at that intersection of 84 and Concannon, they come out of Concannon, they turn right on 84. There's a clear bike path and there's a clear cross sign. There's buttons to push for crossing, and the cars just turn right and pay no attention to it. One day I was waiting at the corner for the crosswalk sign to come on, and a large SUV pulled in the middle of the crosswalk. And the crosswalk light comes on, so I knocked on the lady's window to say, hey, I'm crossing, don't run me over. And she started screaming at me. Okay. Another day I was standing on the corner waiting for the light to turn green, push the button, waiting for the crosswalk sign to come on. And not one, not two, not three, but 4 cars went right through that right-hand turn, never stopped, never looked. Had I stepped into the crosswalk, I would have been flattened. Another day, I was almost hit by a bicycle who was trying to avoid a car that was in the middle of the crosswalk. And these are all when the crosswalk light is on. So it's just an accident waiting to happen. I think that you need to maybe put in, my thought was put in a no right turn on red sign, maybe add a right arrow at the bottom of that light so that when the cars on Isabel are turning left, the cars can still turn right because you're not going to cross while they're turning left. But it's just, or maybe flashing lights in the walking sign. I don't know, something, but it's really a dangerous intersection.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention, and we have professionals that will be looking at that. So thank you.
It's also a path to all those wonderful wineries.
That's true.
So,
Although riding a bike and drinking wine might not be the best thing.
right,
but,
true. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
The next speaker is David McQuiggan, followed by Sandra Lorman, followed by Karen Jefferson.
After I finished my comments last time, Johnny, you felt the need to use your position as mayor presiding over an official function to tell the public that I had my day in court and chose not to contest the charges. Well, Johnny, a simple comparison of the original charging document to the plea deal that I was forced to accept shows that the original charges were most certainly contested. I'm surprised Mr. Calla hasn't warned you about the extensive civil penalties that can occur when an elected official, acting in their official capacities, slanders a member of the public for simply exercising their First Amendment rights to redress their grievances with the government. Of course, what you were falsely referring to was the plea deal that I was forced to accept. Problem is, Johnny, you know that taking a plea deal is in no way equivalent to not contesting the charges. So he let everybody in on the dirty little secret. That every plea deal that has ever been executed and every plea deal that will ever be executed is accepted under duress. You are presented with two very bad choices. Well, that is, except in Livermore, where one has to prove conclusively that the police are lying before you can even begin to present a defense. A very high bar, as my effort here clearly prove, making a trial not a viable option. Of course, that's why you support the lying. Streamlines the whole process, doesn't it, Johnny? But since you brought it up, let me ask you, how many times have I come here and said, I want to withdraw my plea? 0. I have, up until now, specifically avoided talking about the plea for one simple reason. It's not germane. Now, how many times have I come here and said the Livermore police deliberately lied, citing specific examples with evidence to back it up? Many, many times. How many times have I come here and said that the Livermore police manipulated physical evidence, citing specific examples with evidence to back it up? Many, many times. How many times have I come here and said that you, Johnny, have directly participated in the number of crimes committed by the Livermore police, citing specific examples with evidence to back them up? Many, many times. Being an integral part of the problem, it may be hard for you to understand, but if you actually listen to what I'm saying, you might have a better idea of my motivations. You're a lying, corrupt criminal. No, you're a slandering, lying, corrupt criminal, Johnny, and you will be found out. And you know, I'd hate to see you show a pattern of abuse by moving agenda items based on when I'm here. Thank you.
I have a question for staff. Because we did public comment and then we did 8 before we did public comment, can I do a matters after public comment based on a comment? Or can I like ask staff right now to make sure that we follow up with the public commenter about Concanon and 84? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. I was like,
Consider it done.
it's out of order. So
Consider it done.
okay. Thank you. If, do you want to connect with Paul Spence? He, will be able to check in with you about the light issue.
Yeah, I ride through there on my bike a lot, and I know exactly what Ms. Kramer's talking about. But we ought to include Isabel and Stanley as well. That's just as bad.
Next speaker.
The next speaker is Sandra Lorman, followed by Karen Jefferson.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor Marchand. My name is Sandra Lorman. I am a member of the Beautification Advisory Committee, which is one of the 9 committees that you all and the city have created to provide citizen feedback and input to the city staff. And I'm here tonight for two reasons. One is to express my support for all of these advisory committees because I think they're important in terms of providing input from the folks who live here in Livermore. And I'm also here to express my concern over the lack of an opportunity for those of us on the Beautification Advisory Committee to provide input into a recent evaluation exercise that I understand is going on, looking at all the different advisory committees. So, addressing the first reason I'm here, I think these advisory committees are really important. I think it's important to include the input from the citizens of Livermore, from all of us. These committees cut across the entire spectrum of the city's activities, and it provides a good opportunity for a wide range of citizens to have their say and their thoughts appreciated, all of their voices heard. And so that's one reason why I'm here. The other reason is that I understand that there has, I guess it began this summer, a process by which the various advisory committees were being looked at as to their roles and their responsibilities. And in April, our committee was given a list of our roles and our responsibilities, but we weren't asked for any input. We were just given these roles and responsibilities. And in succeeding meetings, the request for any input from us was not put on the agenda. Is that my 3 minutes?
Goes by
Okay,
fast,
well,
doesn't it?
let
Go
me-
go ahead and finish your thought.
Okay, all right. So anyway, we were concerned about this, and so we pursued trying to find out what the process was for determining these roles and responsibilities, and we were able to get no feedback on that at all. Now, this moves to the second issue.
Okay.
Our committee lost, beginning in April, lost 3 of our members. So we're down to 4. And we cannot have a meeting unless all of us are here. There's not enough for a quorum.
Okay, so understood. So we're going to be considering this on December 11th. It'll be coming to the council for discussion. So what you could do is you could put your concerns into an email and then come back on December 11th to address the council on this
Okay.
issue. So we'll make no decisions until then, and you can provide input at that point.
And we will have an opportunity to react to our revised roles and responsibilities.
Yes,
And we will see the suggestions prior to that time.
yes, you will see that when the agenda comes out.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I just also did want to note that an email went out to all advisory body members on Saturday. And so that does give them very specific instructions on how to provide input to the suggested changes and let them know that we will be sending an email directly to you once the agenda publishes. And you can work with your liaison to go ahead and submit your thoughts and feedback at that time, and it'll be included in your supplemental packet.
Okay.
Did you get the email? Did you get the
Okay.
email?
Well, it's
Sorry.
my understanding that the feedback is to go through the staff liaison.
Sandra,
And
did
then
you get the email though? Did you get the email?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the email?
It went out
Yes, I
Saturday.
did.
Okay,
And we're concerned
Okay.
about the staff liaison information getting relayed up the ladder.
Yep,
It will.
you can email us anytime. Thank you.
Okay.
We all read our emails. So thank you.
The next speaker is Karen Jefferson.
Mayor and council members, my name is Karen Jefferson. I'm a resident of Livermore and also a member of the Beautification Committee. Earlier this year, the Beautification Committee was informed that the city was reviewing the roles and responsibilities of the
Excuse me,
city's.
Ms. Jefferson, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Could you speak into the mic?
Oh,
Everyone
I'm
can't hear
sorry.
you. Thank you so much.
Sandra was taller than I. Let's see, earlier this year, the Beautification Committee was informed that the city was reviewing the roles and responsibilities of all of the city's advisory bodies. After reviewing the roles and responsibilities in the Beautification Committee's April agenda packet, I could certainly understand the need for that review, as many of the roles and responsibilities appeared to be out of date and no longer pertinent. At the April Beautification Committee meeting, we looked at these roles and responsibilities and noted only a few items reflected our current activities. At that meeting, we also asked how we could have input into the review process, as we had suggestions of what the committee could do in the future beyond the committee's current activities. For example, several of our members have an interest in activities to increase and promote the number and health of trees in our community. At our May, June, August, September, and October meeting, we continued to ask for the status of the city's review and when we would have input into that review. Unfortunately, we did not receive an answer. During the same time frame, we lost 3 committee members, one in April, one in June, and one in August. These open positions have not been advertised to the public. Why is that? This is just wrong, I think. As things are, if one of the remaining members misses the meeting, we do not have the necessary quorum to conduct business. This weekend, I received notification from the Deputy City Manager that the Beautification Committee will now be updated on the review results at our December 6th meeting and have an opportunity to give our liaison input to be included in a supplemental agenda packet for the December 11th City Council meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to respond to the review. But my question to you is, why is this so late in the process? One might think it's an afterthought. The advisory bodies are a valuable resource to the city, and I hope that we can work together to make them relevant to the city and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I agree, the advisory bodies are very important.
That concludes public comment.
Okay. Is there any further business before the council? Any other comments? Okay, with that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. See you on the 11th.
Record time.